I have two. They are beautiful. One is an adventurous boy of 4, wide-eyed, wild-limbed, always asking why like the word was a gear cranking his little mind into motion. The other is a babbling 6-month-old girl, so new to the world that even her cries sound curious. They are not just our children. They are the vessels of our love, the proof of our patience, the blank canvas where we try to paint better versions of ourselves. My husband and I, we are committed to something different, something deliberate. We don't believe in raising children to obey blindly. We won't be the because I said so kind of parents. We're not trying to mold them into obedient pets or scared little copies of ourselves. No, we want them to think, to question, to challenge, to feel safe in not knowing and hungry to find out. Some parents believe silence is safety, that curiosity is chaos, that children should be seen, not heard, and certainly not understood. But not us. Never us. We have two, and we're going to make them magnificent. When our son asked, "Why are you throwing away the lasagna?" we didn't just say, "Because it's bad." That would have been simple, but simple is lazy. Simple is sterile. So instead, we saved it. We put it in a sealed Tupperware and set it on the counter. Day by day, it transformed. Colors changed. Smells intensified. Bubbles frothed. Nature told its story in mold and decay. And when our boy wrinkled his nose and said, "Eat you," we smiled. Yes, I told him. Now you understand why. He is brilliant. We are doing such a good job. We have two, and they're going to be perfect. He asks questions constantly. Questions about bugs, about death, about time, about God. Questions that adults hide from because they don't like the echo they hear when they try to answer them. But we never hide. One night, just before bed, he called out, "Mom, Dad, I heard something in my closet." What was that? We didn't brush it off. My husband chuckled as we entered. "Well, kiddo, what do you think it was?" He frowned, thinking, "A monster, or a ghost, or maybe a thief. Have you ever seen one?" He looked uncertain. "No, just stories, movies." We nodded. He was learning. What else could it be? His eyes darted around the room, then to the closet. Slowly, he crept toward it and slid the door open. There, scattered on the floor, were crayons. His art table in the closet had a cup that had tipped over. Gravity, not ghouls. Science, not spirits. "See," we said. "You solved it yourself." He beamed. We have two, and they're essentially already brilliant. There's something glorious about seeing a child investigate the world. It reminds us what wonder looks like, pure, unfiltered. One time he asked why he gets goosebumps. We didn't tell him it was just the cold. We pulled up biology diagrams, taught him about hair follicles, explained evolution. We showed him how his body is full of old stories trying to keep him safe. He didn't understand every word. That's not the point. The point is that we tried, that we believed he could. We have two, and they're on their way to being great. Then there are moments we can't explain fully. One sunny afternoon, we took the kids to the park. Our daughter slept in my arms, a little furnace wrapped in cotton. Our son ran across the grass, chasing shadows, laughing. Then he returned, quiet, uneasy. "There's this woman watching me," he said, eyes down, fiddling with his fingers. I don't know why. We scanned the park. So many parents, so many children. None seemed out of place. Still, we took his discomfort seriously. "Do you feel safe?" my husband asked. He shook his head. "No." "Then we leave," I said. On the walk home, we explained how sometimes science has to leave questions unanswered. How sometimes you gather what you can and move on. He nodded, but he didn't look satisfied. Neither did we. We have two, and they're going to be revolutionary. Later that week, our daughter developed a fever. Nothing severe, but enough to keep me awake, cradling her in the soft glow of the hallway light. My son stood beside me, watching, worried. "Why is she sick?" "We don't know yet," I whispered, "but she'll be okay." He looked at her with more focus than I've ever seen in a child his age, as if willing her to get better. "I want to know why," he said. "I want to fix it." I kissed his forehead. "You're a good big brother." He nodded solemnly. "She's important. We have two, and they are loving creatures." That night, I fell asleep on the couch. I had been watching something mindless on TV to distract myself from my nerves. My husband was away on business, so it was just me and the kids. When I woke up, something felt off. The light outside was dim, pre-dawn. The house was silent. I rose, groggy, and walked toward the kids' rooms. That's when I saw the toolbox. It was open, laid out across the hallway floor. A screwdriver missing. My husband is meticulous. He doesn't leave his tools like that. I didn't touch them. My heart stuttered. I walked faster now, almost running. First to my daughter's nursery. The door creaked as I opened it. And there he was, my son, in the crib, with her, the screwdriver in his small hand. Her little face was damp with sweat. Her mouth open, a thin red line across her scalp, not bleeding, probed. He looked up at me. Calm. Mom, he said. I'm trying to find what's wrong with her head. The moment froze. Time slowed down, as though the air had thickened into syrup. My son was kneeling inside the crib, screwdriver in hand, his little fingers stained with blood, her blood. My daughter lay there, too still. Her soft chest rose in tiny, uneven gasps. Her face was pale, but not peaceful. She looked startled, as though she hadn't even had the chance to cry. My mouth opened, but I didn't scream. I remember that. I didn't scream. Instead, I moved toward them like I was underwater. I gently took the screwdriver from his hand. He didn't resist. He just looked up at me with those wide, thoughtful eyes and said, I wanted to know why her head hurt. I needed to see inside. There was no guilt, no malice, just curiosity, the same trait we had so lovingly nurtured in him. I picked him up and set him on the floor. I lifted my daughter carefully, holding a towel to the wound as best I could while dialing emergency services with trembling fingers. My voice shook as I spoke, but I didn't cry. Not then. It wasn't until the ambulance took her away and my son sat beside me on the front steps, swinging his legs and humming softly, that the sobs came. My world had narrowed to a pinprick of pain. My mind tried to process what had happened, to separate accident from intention. But it wasn't an accident, was it? It was an experiment, and we had taught him how. She survived, by a thread. The injury was shallow, but frightening. A doctor said it could have been worse, so much worse, if he'd gone a centimeter deeper. He'd peeled back part of her scalp in search of a bruise. Looking for a boo-boo, he had said. They asked questions, of course. Endless questions. About safety, supervision, intent. My husband flew home immediately. His face, usually composed and full of humor, looked like a stranger's when I told him what had happened. He held our daughter like she was made of glass. He couldn't speak to our son. Not for days. But I did. I couldn't not. He didn't understand the gravity of what had happened. He thought he was helping, and in a way, that made it so much worse. He asked me, "Did I do good, Mommy?" I couldn't answer. The therapist said it was developmentally extreme curiosity. They said we had encouraged investigation without reinforcing boundaries. That children need a sense of what's off limits. That intelligence without empathy can become dangerous. That we had fostered critical thinking without the crucial filter of emotional context. We had taught him to ask how and why, but never should. We had taught him how to be a scientist, a philosopher, a brilliant mind in a tiny body, but not a protector, not a brother, not a child. For weeks, we lived in silence. Our daughter slowly healed. The scar would fade, they said. Physically, she would recover. But emotionally, she cries more now, jumps at sounds, and she doesn't want to be held by her brother anymore. She turns away from him, her little hands clutching at my shirt like I might disappear too. And him? He knows something is wrong. He asks why he can't sleep in his own room, why we moved his toys, why Daddy doesn't laugh anymore, why Mommy stares out the window too long. He stopped asking about science. Now his questions are softer, slower. Do you still love me? Am I bad? Is Sister scared of me? Every question is a knife, and every answer dulls my tongue. We tried to keep going, tried to parent through it, to salvage the world we had so meticulously built. But one night, I found him in the hallway. He was holding the baby monitor in both hands. I wanted to see if her head was still hurting, he said, his voice so calm, so proud. I used the night camera. I can hear her breathing now, Mommy. I can measure it. I stared at him. This tiny genius. This beautiful little mind. So broken. And I realized then that he hadn't stopped. He had just evolved. I made the call the next morning. I didn't tell my husband right away. I couldn't. I drove my son to the facility myself. A quiet place. A kind place. Clean rooms and soft-spoken doctors. I packed his favorite sweater and his favorite books. I told him it was a sleepover, a special one, for special kids who asked too many questions. He smiled. He smiled. He hugged me hard and said, "Tell Sister I'm going to be smarter when I come back." I'll figure out all the things. And I'll fix her boo-boos better next time. I nodded. I kissed his forehead. And I left. The silence in the house grew heavier without him. My husband didn't speak to me for a week. Eventually, he said, "You did what you had to." But I don't know if you believed it. I'm not sure I do, either. Because at night, when the house is still, I hear footsteps that shouldn't be there. Little running feet. Soft giggles echoing from corners. I check every time. No one's there. But something lingers. Some echo of our philosophy. Our grand experiment in parenting. We thought we were raising a thinker, a pioneer. But we forgot that curiosity is sharp. That brilliance can become obsession. That when you teach a child to tear things open to understand them, eventually they will. Even if it's their sister's head. Now I have one. She's doing better. Her fever's gone. The scar is pink but fading. She clings to me like she remembers it all, even if she shouldn't. Maybe babies remember more than we give them credit for. Maybe memory isn't in the brain alone. Maybe it's in the blood. I watch her sleep now. I stay close. I do not nap. I do not drift off. Sometimes, when she cries in the night, I feel her brother's presence before I remember where he is. Sometimes I hear a whisper from the baby monitor. Not from her. From him. "It's okay, Mommy. I'll find the answers." And sometimes, I believe him. Because now, I have none.